Konnichiwa, bitches, and welcome to Game of Who. This is our pilot L.G.C spin-off episode, and we spoil the crap out of Game of Thrones and Doctor Who. I'm Jordan, that's Ven, and this is some guy we found out in an island in the middle of the bay. Says his name's Pablo or some crap. This week's episodes are The Bells of St. John and Valar Dohaeris. Or Dohaeris.
Sounds
How do you pronounce that, Ven?
frightening. How about Dohaeris? How would you pronounce it?
Dohaeris?
Hey, my hair is just fine, thank you very much.
Anyway, we like to get into two things and kind of wrap them into a toxic burrito, something you might have learned from watching us previously if you're familiar with our stick from linuxgamecast.com. Here's the dice. One podcast, two shows. It's not as kinky as it sounds. We're talking Doctor Who and we're talking Game of Thrones. And up first, as Jordan said, is Dohaeris?
Dohaeris?
I don't know.
That's a tricky one. Song of Ice and Fire fans, correct us. We won't care, and we'll make disparaging remarks about your mom.
Let's talk about Game of Thrones in 9 minutes.
I guess if you haven't really caught up on Game of Thrones lately, or at all, you should go watch this video.
From Slate.com. Did you find anything informative about it?
Not really, but I actually did this thing called paying attention while watching the show.
How does one go about this magical?
Well, what you do is you just look at the screen of whatever you're watching this on.
I'm not familiar with it. Explain it to me.
Okay, so you need to direct your head.
My head. Okay, got you.
So that, those eye things that you see out of?
Which ones?
The ones slightly below your...
Are you talking about the frontal lobe things on my face organ?
And your nose.
Okay. Yeah, following you.
Those ones. And you make sure that those are facing directly at the screen.
Do they make me want to slap him?
Yes.
Okay.
That's perfectly normal.
Staying with you. Pedro, thoughts?
No. Sounds pretty legit so far.
So you take these eye holes of yours and you stick them in front of the screen.
My whole, they want to pet him.
Yeah.
And do things to her. Not him.
That's also very normal.
Okay. All right.
Now,
all right.
what you gotta do now, and here's the most important part.
Him too.
Shut the hell up and listen. I know this is very difficult for you, Ben. It's quite a challenging feat, but I believe in you. I know in the bottom of that black little compressed, congealed pit of evil that I call my heart that you can do it.
Okay, I'll try. What's going on?
I don't know. I find myself enthralled.
Well, Arya Stark
just got I've seen
evil.
it before.
All of this has happened before, and all this will happen again. Whoops, wrong show.
Big ass wall. And fat guy. Tree.
Fat guy. Tree.
Horses.
Fat
Horses.
Sword play.
Little girls. Little girls.
Pedophiles.
Stereo.
Oh yeah. More pedophiles.
Pedophiles.
Dothraki.
Eunuchs.
Yep. Beat me to it.
Perverse. Eunuchs.
Pimps.
Commander of pimps. Yes. Virgins. More pimps.
Dead.
MILF.
Elf.
Hobbit.
Elf.
Wrong lore. Wrong lore.
Elf. Bastard.
Eunuch.
Eunuchs again.
Yep.
Little girls. Little girls.
All right.
Girls.
If we're going to watch the whole thing, we're
No,
just
we're not going to
spotting
watch the whole thing.
No. But it's a neat little video that fairly adequately sums up.
Definitely check that out on
First 2 seasons of
slate.com.
Game of
That
Thrones
will
and
be
everything,
in
yeah.
our show notes, as said. But up next, before we get into our discussion, is from Uprox XX. one more accent might be more entertaining. 21 fun, obscure facts about the cast of Game of Thrones that you might...
Some of them not so obscure.
Oh, which ones are your faves?
I like the Hound coming out of the pond naked. That one was pretty funny.
I like how Joffrey manages to get a hand on its face no matter which movie he's on.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people didn't want to bitch slap him in the first episode, but yeah, too elvish for that. Check that out at uprox.com, but since we're also doing the Doctor Who 12 most
yes, the Slate sex life.
mortifying moments in the history of...
I don't know what's so mortifying about it. I mean, obviously there's one way of doing it, and it's through the eyeball. Obviously.
This is like
So
a bunch
is it
of...
still
all right,
called skull fucking if she's on a piece of pavement?
Skull fucking.
ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Slaying. Now, this seems to be a collection of old Doctor
I'm
Who's.
single,
and
ladies.
guess what? They're supposed
Number
to be
5's my
bad.
favorite.
No, I did like the snake, but all right. I kind of like this comparison here. Let's check this out. But it takes away from what made the original Doctor Who. Doctor Who. I mean, it was
Penis monsters.
laughingly bad. There's a piece of rubber on me. But it makes you appreciate what they did originally with it.
Yeah, they had a shoestring budget.
Yep.
Like, they lost a bunch of the old episodes, like the first Doctor, William Hartnell episodes, because they were too cheap to buy new tape.
Pedro, did you watch any of the old school Doctor Who?
No, I did watch some episodes from the 80s series, but all the ones before that, I couldn't even get them either at a local video store or on the dark places of the World Wide Web. I could find some, but most of them were, like Jordan said, gone.
Completely gone, huh?
Well, anything beyond, like, what, the third Doctor is safe. But
Yeah.
That kind
So-
of wraps it up for a little intro. Like I said, this is a pilot show. This is rough. If you think this is rough, look at our first Linux Gamecast episode. Trust
that
us,
was bad.
It gets
That was-
worse.
But anyways, the bells of St. John.
Bells
the
of
bells
St.
of St. John are
John.
ringing, and
Ring,
that's
ring.
all we're ever going to hear about them.
Ring, ring. Jordan, you didn't fill out anything on the show note, man.
You guys basically said more or less everything I was going to say, so I felt me putting anything down there was kind of redundant.
Well, here's one of my biggest issues. I have grown accustomed to the new intro music. It's a bit ooncy, but this new one really harkens me back to like the 80s version, and it's not fancy. They're like boom, and I really didn't like the TARDIS door closing. At the end of that, this new companion, she basically ends up, well, she doesn't end up. She starts out at the end where Martha Jones ended up. And then by the realization is like, oh, this is a snog box. And I thought that was kind of
Snog box.
important.
I think that adequately sums up the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And my point, third point, before I hand it over to Mateus, is the great intelligence. Seriously,
The great intelligence.
we heard that during the Let's Build a Snowman episode, and now he's back, voiced by a different actor. So,
Not Dumbledore.
And he's actually got a face. I mean, the Great Intelligence was this mysterious thing. Now,
Well,
they've
it was the same
personified
problem
it.
that they did the exact same thing with Skynet in that god-awful Terminator Salvation movie. They gave
Yeah,
it Helena
that worked
Bonham
out
Carter's
great, didn't it?
face.
No, I mean, it's... these little details that prevent Doctor Who from becoming one of my favorite shows. But it's still very, very, very entertaining, and it's doing a wonderful job at that, and I'm probably going to keep watching it.
That about sums up what Doctor Who is. It's entertaining. I mean, like if you really think about it particularly hard for less than 30 seconds, you're gonna get a headache. It shuts your brain off fun, as we'll get into.
Doctor Who continuity gives me brain cramps.
Doctor Who gives most people brain cramps.
Well, I guess it comes down to they run into a corner and then they go, "Oh, it's a kids show. See, we can just do the thing."
Kid show.
Yeah. So that's our first impressions, and we're going to do first impressions followed by problems.
Problem? Oh no, I have a problem. I'm trapped in the internet. Help me.
Explain. Explain.
Help me.
Explain.
I'm trapped in the internet. I've been uploaded by connecting to some random Wi-Fi network.
Oh.
That sounds like a dial-up modem.
that makes dial-up modem sounds. Ah!
Okay, Jordan, explain why this is a problem.
What kind of... Okay, A, if you, log onto, a random Wi-Fi that's open, you're an idiot. B, I don't see how being trapped in the internet is a problem if you're trying to figure out what's happened to you, because that seems to put the greatest information resource in the history of mankind literally at your brain tips.
Really?
Unless you're surrounded by the Great Firewall of China.
Surrounded by the Great Firewall of China. Well, then we can always check out the Kwangmyong in North Korea. Chill with Kim Jong-un and Dennis Rodman.
Well, I had a few problems, and I guess we'll just start those up with this abysmal green screen. How bad was this?
It was obvious.
This was something that, as a really BBC, you get all this money. This was laughably bad.
They spent all their money on the Great Intelligence visual effect.
Well,
I think the Matrix backdrop with the guy talking over it.
Yeah.
Jordan, tell me about this real-time hacking. How does that work since you're a
Ven,
hacker?
did you just hack my brain?
I hacked your brain, man.
Oh my god. This is almost like that one series that was a lot better than this episode. Called Ghost in the Something. Ghost in the Sea something.
Jordan, can't you clearly see there's something that's non-resemblant?
There's networks and something that vaguely
some...
resembles a regular expression. And
I like that expression. What is that? Because fuck you, that's why expression.
Yeah. And look, there's an ampersand. That's obviously computer code. Look at that. Their firewall is absolute.
Pedro, what did you think about the hacking, man?
Okay. Hacking? Okay. Let's imagine that the doctor's laptop has been magically transformed ever since he touched it. And floaty texts show up near people.
Well, obviously.
Is that the new...
Wibbly wobbly timey wimey, Pedro. Wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
I mean, look at it. I mean, clearly that's how you hack, right?
Clearly that's what the insides of a computer look like. Obviously.
Okay, I mean, I've never even opened one. I mean, not ever since I was 5 anyway.
So who wants to address this?
Teacup. What, the TARDIS or the teacup?
The interior.
I like the new interior, to be honest.
Jordan,
I think it's
honestly, this
nifty.
reminds me of one of our Coke binges in South America.
That's why I liked it, because I like going on Coke binges with you.
Yeah, well, we're not here to talk about a romance. We're talking about this monstrosity, and it looks
monstrosity.
Very
I think that's stretching it
to me.
You know what? It kind of reminds me of like the old Doctor Who sets, and I think that's what appeals to me.
Except those were more colorful. This one's just
Oh.
blue.
Blue. You know what? I don't mind it. But today I recently discovered I was a fan of brutalist architecture, so there you go.
Can't say I'm a big fan of it. I don't like the way it moves. It looks way too plasticky. I like the organic look of the old one. I hate to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Eccleston series actually introduced a very nice interior, very steampunky kind of TARDIS. I like that.
For the one thing I did like about the old TARDIS was like everything was something else. Like there was like random bicycle pedals, and like one of those little fish games that.
Yeah.
And and somehow that makes a working time machine.
So
it's supposed to be in the fourth dimension.
Gentlemen, here's a fun question. What linked her, the new companion? Well, we'd assume that's going to be the new companion. It would be obvious if it wasn't. With the TARDIS, and she did say, "Who?
Woman at the computer store."
Yeah, the woman at the shop is what she said.
Yeah. Woman at the shop, and I'm with Ben. I immediately thought River.
Yeah, I'm thinking River, Pedro.
Yeah. There's really no one else of importance that might actually create that kind of connection.
But we got
to
wait. Hang on. I got to interject.
All right.
In this timeline, at this moment, they're married.
They are.
Now, what are your thoughts, gentlemen?
I honestly think that this is Stephen Moffat trolling us.
Very likely.
He loves doing it. I mean, why should this come as a shock? This is obviously Stephen Moffat just like laughing at us, going, "Oh, stupid monkeys."
Stupid monkeys we may be. But one stupid monkey point I kind of picked up on was when he licked that leaf. Now, I do remember in The Impossible Astronaut, they did the whole, Viking funeral thing at sea, and the whole speech of, we need to burn them to a crisp. Because
every cell is a miracle.
Yes, and galaxies and empires would kill for just one single cell of Time Lord DNA. Entire worlds would. Pedro, what do you think about that? How does that work out? Did they just not think about it, man? Or are we getting trolled again?
It's like you mentioned earlier. That will probably come back to bite them in the ass.
But you know what? Come to think of it, since River knew exactly who that was, shooting the Doctor, maybe she kind of did that intentionally. Maybe she lied to Amy and Rory.
Could be.
I don't know. I mean, that was another thing that was addressed with, why aren't you taking your ship? And it's like, oh, it's a wooden box. And he's like, no, it's the most powerful spaceship in the entire... That's the first time I think we've ever heard the TARDIS referred to that as being the most powerful.
Yeah, you took issue to that, which I countered with. The Doctor has been destroying all the other more powerful ships so far.
Pedro?
Well, all things considered, unless you want to count the Master's TARDIS, it probably is.
Oh, the Master's dead, ostensibly.
This time, for realsies.
He keeps coming back. He's like the Energizer Bunny.
He's supposedly dead. He'll find a way back.
Supposedly.
Well,
but yes,
those are my problems.
Apparently, you took additional issue with that little motorcycle ride.
Well, as somebody who's actually owned a Triumph, there's no way that thing made it more than 2 kilometers without melting down, blowing oil everywhere, and just generally stalling, preferably on the M4. But not saying anything against Triumph, not saying anything against the M4, but happens. completely unbelievable. But Pedro, you do have some issues yourself.
I did.
Let's hear them.
Well, my issues were not as descriptive as yours, Vin. But okay, let's go back to the hacking for a bit. Okay, there's that part where she says that, oh, the security, it's so good, I can't track them, I don't know where they are. But then she hacks their webcams, snaps their pictures, runs facial recognition, which she coded on the spot, I'm assuming. Runs facial recognition and finds out where they work.
Gotta interject for one moment. There was one G+, like, new title graphic in that entire breakdown. Yep. All right, you got that. Go ahead.
But, yeah.
I like how they mentioned Habbo Hotel as well.
Ooh.
Because apparently people still use that.
Habbo Hotel, Horcut, or MySpace. I think there was a MySpace page coming up
Friendster.
As well. But yeah, top of the line firewall. Can't localize it, can't track it, can't do anything. Webcams, not a problem. Okay. And then there was the part where you get uploaded, you learn all the things about computers and internet and stuff, and she didn't know anything about the internet, and suddenly she was talking about Twitter. Okay, if getting uploaded teaches you about Twitter, I don't want to.
Oh, by the way, actually no, never mind. Because they established that Oswin was a good hacker in Asylum of the Daleks, so maybe that's how she became one.
Well, she's not. She's.
I was gonna say, I bet you $5 that she's gonna forget all of this.
Oz for the win, man. Oz for the win.
Clara, Oswin, Oswald, whatever.
You get it? You see, it's supposed to tie in and make us not go, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Guess you went there. Fair enough. All right. Summarize this new. Well, it's not even a new series. Isn't this like part 2 of the series, right?
Yes.
Yep.
This is.
So let's summarize it. My final thoughts for this first episode. It wasn't engaging. I mean, I liked it, but I mean, the Wi-Fi thing was stupid. I get it for a plot point. Enjoyed it. I like the password run, you clever boy, and the throwback to that. Still curious to see how they're going to continue tying this crap in. Kind of liked that she immediately started out with, you know, I'm not falling for you. Come see me in another day. That's about it. J-Man.
A lot of I can't help but noticing a lot of our griping comes from the fact that we're all computer nerds, and this is a episode about computers that gets it horribly wrong. So I mean, if you take that out of the equation, it wasn't a bad episode. It was fun. I'm interested to see where this half season goes, I guess. The one thing though, Doctor Who. Say that again. Doctor Who.
Bit of a
say it again.
Break there.
Say it again. Say it again.
I never noticed how it is. Chip, whatever. All right.
No, I mean, like I said at the beginning, it wasn't the episode that made me love the show, but it was entertaining. And yeah, I definitely want to see, like Jordan said, I definitely want to see how they're going to tie all this up.
How do you think they're going to tie it up, Pedro? Just from this second half of the series. Because you know River Song gave her that number, and you're the creative one of us.
No, I mean, like I said, Doctor Who continuity gives me massive brain cramps, and I'd rather just watch it and shut my brain down for a little second, because the moment I start thinking about it, stuff like real-time hacking starts to happen. So, yeah, I don't know, but I'm sure they'll find a way to make it all make sense.
You know, I think I know how they're gonna do it. Jello bondage, hands down.
Jello bondage for the win. And that's going to wrap it up for our Doctor Who section. Coming up next, Game of Thrones. And let's talk about Game of Thrones. First impressions. J-Man, you name this. So
Men don't need. He says men don't need nipples.
What do you do with your nipples? I mean, sometimes I use mine for ulterior motives. Why don't you need nipples?
I typically use them as pizza toppings.
Neat. But poor Tyrion. Why so?
Poor Tyrion. I mean,
the fuck did he do to you, man?
I mean, man, Tywin is hating on him out of sheer spite at this point. I mean, Tyrion actually did a lot of work to protect King's Landing and stop Joffrey from going completely insane. And, give him a bit of credit for that. Don't go hate on him just because he's a midget. Midgets have feelings too.
Yeah.
It's not just because he's a midget.
It's
the whole
because he
Lannister
killed his
family
wife when she
blames
was
him
born.
for killing the Lannister matriarch.
Well, I can see that from that entire elongated speech, but he's up to something else.
Yeah.
But, first in the credits, which I really dug, was...
who has been getting top billing for the past season.
Yeah. That's a screen cap right there, and just good on you, mate. That's brilliant. I love to see that. And easily my favorite character, or my favorite actor for the past 367 days. On top of
definitely,
that, go ahead.
Definitely one of the best actors, and he plays one of the most interesting characters in the show, and he's dead on. Every single line, he's dead on. Is awesome.
These are brave men. Let's go kill them.
Now I want to pick your brains, both of your brains. Don't you think she was able to speak the language that was being interpreted to her?
I was like, when is someone gonna speak up and say hey, I know you're bullshitting me, give me a better price? I was waiting for that to happen.
True.
But
I don't know. I mean, it might have just been bad acting, but I don't think they did.
Why not? I got the definite impression that they were alluding to that. I was like, oh yeah, she actually was, from not necessarily these shores, but from around these parts, and she was like, all right, we're just kind of waiting to see what goes on, and bam, nipples. But still, at the end of the day, I think
then men don't need them.
Men don't need nipples after all. But no, I mean, even when they're alone, there's not a mention of the fact that the guy was calling her a Westerner whore or anything like that.
Westerosi whore.
Yeah.
Because she's from Westeros.
Technicalities.
And Jordan might appreciate this. Redheads are trouble. There seems to be an ongoing theme throughout humanity.
Redheads are trouble. But then apparently your Joffrey barometer went up a bit.
Well, I didn't want to slap Joffrey, but I wanted your opinion on redheads.
Well, in my opinion on redheads, when you start vomiting evil skeleton shadow demons from your vagina,
turns
I think
you on,
gotta go
doesn't
see
it?
a gynecologist.
How did you manage that erection?
How did I manage that erection?
Awkwardly?
Well, you know what? It wasn't easy, but after a while, it just sort of
worked itself out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about persistence.
What do you think about the redhead, man? I mean, I know she's going to be integral, but... Yeah.
Melisandre.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Nori will be the first one to tell you that I actually have a thing for redheads. And both Melisandre and the Wilder girl from up north.
Ygritte.
Yeah. I would very much enjoy an evening with those two, but that's just in my head.
Well, that sounds frightening, but as
No, the thing was, someone spoiled what happened. Someone's already spoiled the books for me, so I know exactly what's going to happen this season, and it pissed me off. But
here's the thing, Jordan. Continuing with where we're at actually in the series, not these random books that are being written about the original HBO series. I don't know who this Martin guy is.
This Greg Martho or something. I don't know.
Disgust me. They're only in series 3, and he's already written additional books. I mean, just completely taking advantage of the HBO original
7
series.
of them. God damn.
But this was the first episode that had Joffrey in it, and I didn't want to curb stomp him, as you said. How about you?
I think Joffrey has sort of been confronted with how much of a bitch he is, and he's still trying to come to terms with that.
Didn't his mom kind of point that out?
Yeah, his mom's like, damn, I'm like the queen bitch, and I think you're a bitch.
Well, you remember at dinner towards the end?
Yeah.
They were talking about, oh yeah, in that fight and whatever. And it's like, oh, we can't all have the courage of kings.
Yep.
Cersei, you bitch. But yeah, this was probably the only episode Joffrey was in that he was actually bearable. Maybe the new princess is actually rubbing off on him.
Maybe. I don't think so.
Yeah. We can only hope. Pedro, you had something to say about the White Walkers.
Yeah, it was... I saw, as soon as the credits were over and the first shot came up, I was like, oh, it's the North. Fuck, it's Jon Snow. But then I saw Sam running and... Ooh. Okay. And then a White Walker shows up and I'm like, fuck yeah!
What did you think about the Giants?
Ooh, the Giants. Yeah. Well, the Giant.
No, I think there was more than one in that scene, but there was one.
I only saw one.
I think there were
one
two.
that cruises in front of the camera.
Hmm.
No, man. When you end the season with an army of White Walkers walking south, you need to see the freaking White Walkers. I mean, it was just one, and it wasn't one of the most deformed ones, but it was freaking awesome, man. It tickles my RPG fan.
I like the Giant, the one that I paid attention to. It was kind of casually looked. They didn't overplay it, which I thought was brilliant.
They're shy, and when they stop getting shy, they start getting angry.
Reminds me of you, Master Svang. That's why I do not tease you.
Often.
Mostly.
Off. Some days.
They only end with a Y. So, that does with our splooge fest. Let's get into the problems with Game of Thrones. J-Man, you're up first.
They were supposed to keep the reveal at the end about the former head of the King's Guard. Apparently that was supposed to be kept a secret for a while, but I guess that didn't happen in the show, and I guess because it's visual, they can't really play that off. Also, but where the hell is Arya Stark? I want to know what happens to her.
Where did she go? Because wasn't she with the Lannisters?
No, she escaped. And she was given the chance to become an assassin, but she turned it down. But the guy's like, here, in case you ever change your mind, here's a coin. It wasn't a coin, it was something. But I mean, it sort of ended for her. And it was interesting because she was with the other kids that were captured, including Robert Baratheon's bastard.
Yeah.
Now, who was she in the service of? because she was playing the role of a boy, right?
Yeah, she was the cupbearer for Tywin.
Because Tywin actually realized, well, he was the only
Yeah.
one who realized that she was a girl, and that she was a
Yeah.
northern girl.
And Pedro knows how to spot northern girls. Just look at that
Hey.
red.
I'm dating one.
He's got 2 hats for a reason. No, I think those are both fair points. My only big problems, boobs showed up at like the early 20-minute mark, and I'm more accustomed to Game of Thrones having boobs at the halfway mark. That's when I know when to pause. Is halfway through. Go outside, have a drink, something like that, chill out, come back to it. But it did the 24-minute mark, and Dinklage, according to the books.
These books that are based on the HBO original series?
Yes.
Why do you care about those? You said that guy was a hack.
Well, he is a hack, but I like to read ahead because maybe they'll take some of that source material from his fantasies and apply it in these books that he's fantasized about the HBO original series.
Mm-hmm.
His nose was completely severed. Why didn't HBO tend to that? I mean,
can't have ugly people on TV.
I mean, not only did they not do that, they actually made the slight fourth wall break there of actually mentioning it. Oh,
yeah, they
said
they
your
hung a
nose was
lampshade over
gone,
that. I thought
but
that
it
was
doesn't
cute.
look so bad. Yeah, they've been doing that not with just that scene, but they've been actually doing it for, well, the scene with Jon Snow. He actually, in the show, he gets captured after the rest of the party gets captured because they went looking for him. Kind of makes him look like a bitch. And in the books, he actually makes it back to the party, and then they get captured.
Well, they
don't know.
have to abbreviate some stuff for the TV series.
right, they got to spin it out. But Pedro, your last bit here is your problems. Let's hear them.
Yeah. Well, there was not enough boobs. Well, there was a teeny tiny pair of boobs, and the guy was actually about to rip her bottoms off with his teeth. And not Pycelle, the shield bearer for Tyrion Lannister walks
How bad
in.
did you want to be her?
Apparently that guy was in a boy band. You don't want him biting your underwear off.
No, mostly because I didn't even know his boy band. So
But you
yeah.
claim.
So he claims.
No, not enough boobs. Too much Jon Snow. I mean, I don't mind the scenes with Jon Snow and that redhead Wilder girl.
Ygritte.
Yeah, Ygritte. But way too much Jon Snow. No. And where the hell's Jaime and Brienne?
Who?
That's that
You know,
very
Jaime
tall woman you
Lannister.
got the hots for.
The Kingslayer and the big girl. The big blonde girl.
Oh, you mean that super hot model that cleans up nice?
Yeah. The Amazon.
For me, that's not necessarily an Amazon. That's kind of my range.
It's one of the plot hooks I'd actually like to see. And not just that. Theon Greyjoy. Dude
Is
fell
a
off the
bitch.
wagon.
All right, I'm going to be the first one.
He's a bitch who tried to fuck his sister, man.
I can't keep track of the names. I know the characters. I can't. Who's Theon?
Theon is the guy who his father is the king of the nation with all the ships.
Okay.
He's
Iron
the
Price?
servants of the drowned god.
You know that
remember
kid
last
that
season,
was,
season Theon went home and he starts macking on this one girl and she's like, I'm your sister, right? He's like, what? We can only have one.
The
incest
Iron
on.
Price guy, right?
Yeah.
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 All right. I know.
That
Go
guy.
ahead.
Yeah, the I know what happens because I've read those infamous books, but I kind of want to see how HBO
You've read those
is gonna tie
lies,
it.
Pedro? You've read those
Yes.
lies?
Lies!
No, I want to see how HBO is going to tie his reappearance, because there's actually a few mentions in the third book on what happened to him, and we didn't get any. Maybe we'll get some, but
Well, there's always next week, and they are cutting season 3 into 2. Or sorry, they're cutting book 3 into 2 rather.
So at the end, what do you guys think? The guy shows back up, and even with the pirate chap, he's talking about, like, okay, I'll get your bones and I'll put it around your wife's neck, and he still shows up and he still gets sent to the dungeons. Thoughts?
No, redheads are trouble, man.
Well, that particular redhead can be a bit of a bitch. But, no, there's bound to be something coming out of that. And I don't know if Stannis Baratheon will wake up to life and see what she's been feeding him, the lies she's been feeding him, to be more specific.
And her crotch.
But
And I guess on one last point before we wrap up, about Joffrey's wife, or soon-to-be queen, going in with the orphanage, how are they going to play on that? Because, you know, the concept of that is get in there and make the people love you and all that. And this night, my thought it was all night. He's like, he is now! And she just stabs him in the eyeball with it. Well, maybe that's how it worked in my mind. But the whole concept of, you know, communing with the little people, and that kind of worked out somehow, maybe, possibly. Do you think that's going to come full triangle?
Possibly.
I honestly, imagining I didn't know anything about what's going to happen, I really do hope it does, because I kind of had enough with bitches and dicks and power. You got Cersei, all-time bitch. You got Joffrey, all-time dick.
No.
Robert?
Joffrey's a bitch.
Indeed.
I mean, Ted Stark and Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon were the two awesome guys to be in power. And they're gone.
But possibly not the last we're seeing of old Ned Stark.
Oh, possibly not. No, there's rumors that abounds, but you'll have to tune in next week for our first official episode, when we discuss that with me, Vin Stone, my cohorts in crime, Jordan Sveng, and Pedro Martes, and this has been it for our Game of Who, Episode 1. Men don't need nipples. Oh, yeah.
They don't.
Rub your nipples.
I can't. I put them on my pizza already.
Pedro's doing weird. All right, we're off.
And cut.